Cool. So today we have Tarun with us from the Copperx team. We are discussing the future of payments in Web3 with the Copperx team. Yesterday we had an Explain Like I'm 5 and Board Dev Chat Club over on our Discord channel. And that was a really, really insightful session where Taron, gave us a really in-depth walkthrough on Copperx, what it does, and how to make use of it as a developer, and also as a user, as a business owner as well, and as an individual who might be interacting with the Copperx front-end API by that businesses have deployed. Today, we're going a bit deeper and a bit technical and a bit more in the business sense of things to figure out what the future of payments in Web3 is and sort of the role Copperx plays in that. But before we get into that, again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Yinka and I am your host. And if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand to join us in the conversation. And myself, Tyron, and anyone else in the community will be happy to respond to that. Hi, Tyron. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. So tell us and give us a brief overview of what Copperx is and how it works.
Okay. I think in simpler terms, it's the Stripe for Web3. So Copperx is like at Copperx we are building blockchain payment APIs for businesses. We have features like payment links, invoicing, recurring billing, and marketplace payments and stuff like that. That includes like that works across multiple networks, EVM, non-EVM networks, and we handle like currency conversion, cross-chain swaps, every single thing on developers' behalf. So as a business or as a developer, all you do is either add, install or extension, just add that 7 line of code to accept payments across multiple networks. That's it.
Sweet. I do like the analogy of the Stripe for Web3 and Stripe being a very, very interesting, what would you call it, base template sort of
Yeah.
that other primitives and other protocols and other payment type platform and gateway sort of imitators is really something to commend. And, Stripe is Stripe, Stripe is cool as hell. So, yeah.
Yeah, true, totally. Stripe is, I mean, it's playbook, more of a, it's a playbook that a lot of startups can.
Yes, exactly. That's the word. So they do have a really, really tested and tried,
Yeah,
playbook,
yeah,
and also like really high standard of what would you call quality code, user experience, business experience, and just production quality overall.
yeah, true, totally.
Awesome. So from Copper X's standpoint, how exactly are you different from all of the other payment platforms, but specific to Web3 as it were?
So, I think first and foremost thing is we are like fully network agnostic, right? So whether it's, Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Solana, it does not matter which network do you have funds on. As a business, they can accept fund all of these networks. And one more interesting point about Copperx is like we are building for developers, and certainly developer is a starting point for us, but we are catering to business needs. So it's like, so accepting payment is one thing, but along with that, as a business, or you need to do payment reconciliation, you need to file your taxes, you need to make sure like all your payments are AML certified and stuff like that, right? So as a business, we provide them a way to accept and operate in blockchain space, right? Even for that matter, like for sure, that for next 2, 3, 4 years, businesses will need to offer their funds to their bank account for various purposes, for example, payouts, payrolls, maybe cashing it out, similar. We will also be providing off-ramping services for business. So the way we are looking at Copperx is we are helping business to to learn and operate in this space and abstracting every single thing related to blockchain.
Okay, cool. I do find the fact that you are abstracting away all of these, should we call them complexities as far as like running a business is concerned, especially when it comes with payment and reconciliation and all of that cool stuff. How exactly does that work from, let's say, from a back end perspective? But keep it as what would you call it? As we can explain that over words in words, right? So how does CopperX essentially make lives easier for businesses
Mhm.
by abstracting away the reconciliation part of things, filing taxes? Do you have these templates like readily available, or are there some form of how-to guides that sort of educate people, or does CopperX handle this entire process, and all the business has to focus on is being a business and accepting payments?
I think I'll go with the second one. So Let's consider a use case. You have a coffee shop, and you have like you are accepting Mastercard, Visa, like maybe some local QR code based payment method, right? Now, when you want to let's say accept any crypto or any digital currency, right? Ideally, all you should be as a business, all you should be doing is install one more app, or just sign up for one more website, and that would be it, right? So we will give you all the reporting from our end. You don't need to do those things any kind. For example, if you are based in US, whatever the reports that's needed in that particular format, we will make sure that's available for you. US has their local guidelines for accepting crypto payments, for example, X amount, Y amount, right? So all those compliances are also managed inbuilt in the platform, right? So as a business, you don't need to do anything if you want to accept ETH, or I mean, you don't even need MetaMask for that matter. Like, you can use your Coinbase wallet directly, as easy as like accepting card payments. No, nothing new to learn. And on top of that, certainly we will be working on, or rather than working on, we will be guiding businesses and writing articles, YouTube tutorials, so that they are more aware about the safety and security of the overall platform, and even rather than platform, the overall crypto and blockchain space. So I think we will be educating them on that part. But as a business, you won't need to learn anything new. If you, it's like going to Facebook, creating your account, and that's it.
Makes sense. It's really good you mentioned towards the end that onboarding people about crypto and everything in between, which sort of leads to one of the thoughts that I have right now. We know obviously crypto is crypto. It's been disrupting a lot of things. There have been also a lot of controversies around it. It's been helping a lot of nations, a lot of people. It's simplified a lot of things. It's made a lot of things more complex than they need to be. However, from a business perspective, why would you encourage companies to or businesses to consider accepting cryptocurrency payments?
I think there are a lot of reasons for this. For example, one of the most important part is, for any business, the reason they implement a new payment gateway or new payment method is because they want to increase their revenue, or they do not want their customers to just go walk away, right? I think that it starts from there, right? So if you look at the current, youngsters, Gen Z, right? I think more than 40% of Gen Z people, they hold some kind of cryptocurrencies in XYZ wallets, right? And for a business, it is very, very important to have an access, or rather than provide a way for them to make a payment, right? So that starts from there. And even when we look at the data, like I think around more than 13% of US population, they do hold one or other kind of cryptocurrency, right? So this certainly shows really powerful way to accept a payment and access new customer base. Along with that, one of the most important aspect that crypto and blockchain in general provides is instant settlements, right? So usually what happens is when you accept a Mastercard, Visa, or some bank based payment method or wallet based payment method, right, you need to do the whole reconciliation and then submit those things, and you might receive funds in 3 to 4 to 7 days, right? While when you use crypto, right, it's pretty much instant settlement that we as a Copperx, and I think any payment gateway in blockchain can provide it. So instant settlement is also one of the major aspect here, right? Third thing is the way blockchain and the whole like the technology works is there will be, I think, very, very less percentage of chargebacks possible, right? Because whatever you do, like all of those things go through heavily deep, like cryptography, right? So there is no possibility of chargebacks whatsoever. Third, when you use, let's say, Mastercard, Visa, or some country based payment method, right? When you compare it with blockchain, right, there is no limitations in terms of any geographical boundaries, right? So you can go global from day one, like literally from day one. Like, you don't need to integrate hundreds of different things. It's just one simple API provided by maybe Copperx, and you just can get started with, right? Now comes, like as I mentioned, like the first part I started with was accessing new customer base and increasing your revenue, right? There could be two ways to increase your revenue. One is certainly you increase your revenue by adding more customers. Second one could be how can you optimize your business, right? So, or rather than optimize your expenses or profit, right? So what happens here is usually businesses are paying around 3 to 7% of transaction fees on every payment that they're accepting, right? So for example, if you go to some shop and you pay $100, right, they have to pay around $5 just to accept that payment, right, which is huge. I mean, 5% is a really huge margin here, right? And when you compare it with blockchain, so I think we can enable it around in around 0.5 to 1%. So this is way cheaper. This is like any business can increase their profit straight up by 15 to 25% in just one go by accepting a new payment method, right? So there are a lot of upsides here for a business to accept a new payment, like new customer base, instant settlements, no chargebacks, go global from day one, very less fees charged in the transaction. So I think these are sufficient points for anybody to start accepting crypto instantly.
Yeah, no, I mean, you literally went off, and that's amazing in and of itself. While you were speaking and thinking of the use cases, you could say one, instant sentiment is without a doubt huge. If you're a business owner, you understand the importance of that. However, for me, what really gets it going for me, that gets me really excited about this space, is it makes everyone, every business owner, and every individual a global participant of a global market, right? Because with cryptocurrency, you can you can purchase anything from anyone from anywhere in the world, without necessarily even needing to know them to an extent. And so that breaks all of the barriers that existed prior
Yes.
to the
Yes.
mainstream adoption of cryptocurrencies, right?
Yes.
And yeah, 100%. As someone who comes from who still resides and comes from Africa, we've had limitations of accessibility of certain services and certain products just because of the limitation with cards, Mastercards, and Visa cards, and dollar cards, and just those exchange rates were
Yeah.
just horrible, right? And now I could purchase an Amazon gift card from Binance. I could send it to my Amazon account, load up my Amazon account, make purchases, and get them over to where I am. So it 100% simplifies and improves the quality of life. And it just gives everyone a relatively even playing field to compete, to experience, the goodness of life, you could say, and just be a part of this global economy.
Yeah, totally. I think, yeah, I think even like for example, yesterday this thing happened, right? So like I was at this desert shop, and somehow the UPI, like in India we have this local payment system called Unified Payment Interface, right? So it wasn't working, and people couldn't make a transaction at all. So that was really painful for a lot of users.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, people just like they have to go back, like they couldn't pay at all and they couldn't buy the things.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. If Bitcoin wasn't Bitcoin, like it was an asset, but it wasn't a cryptocurrency asset that is doing what it's doing currently. Imagine how many people would sort of miss out on that opportunity to be a part of this. And then Ethereum comes along, and then a lot of people just would never have been able to sort of get equity, you could say, in these tokens and change their lives and also contribute from a technical standpoint. And so, the globalization that cryptocurrency brings in and of itself is
Yes.
just amazing.
Yes. True.
It's amazing, but it doesn't, you could say, come with its downside, I could say. So, which leads me to my next inquiry: is what should businesses consider as some of the potential risks and downsides of accepting cryptocurrency payments? Because it's not a silver bullet to everything. So, what are some of the things to keep in mind, and how can businesses sort of mitigate them, assuming they are? So, this is within the scope of Copperx and perhaps outside of the scope, ability, and services of Copperx for businesses in general. What are the potential risks and upsides to consider?
I think there are two major things that any business would need to look into when they are, transacting or accepting crypto payments. So one would be really transparent with your finance team or your like tax advisor upfront. Like you should be asking upfront advice on, like based on the country you are in, like how you will be accepting funds and stuff like that. So so there will be things like KYC needed. Like it could be hard government ID and stuff like KYC, or it could be simple name and address at like KYC, right? So you should always talk to your tax advisor in whichever country you are in to look into what are the cons, or rather than cons, like what are the things that you need to be careful about before accepting, right? And second one would be whenever you are accepting crypto payments, right, make sure that you use a tool which has inbuilt things like AML detection, right? So there are a lot of upsides of crypto, a lot of benefits of crypto, but along with that, it is also being used for money laundering and terrorist activities, right? So we have to make sure whenever we are accepting funds from any third party, right, they are not involved in any of these and like illegal activities, right? So you should always use the payment gateway or the EPA provider which supports this thing, right? So that is the reason we in Copperx we are working with some of the partners where we will be enabling AML detection for each and every transaction, whether it's a small or larger transaction, does not matter. But we will just make sure like you have complete visibility of who are like with whom you are transacting, and making sure those things are there, that in place. So I think these are two major things: taxation and compliance. I think you have to be careful about these two.
Yeah, 100%. You hit the nail right on the head, which obviously just leads to my next point. You've talked about the things to pay attention to, which is what you just mentioned, and then my question is, within CopperX, how do you ensure that security and compliance with regulations when processing these payments sort of on point? How exactly does CopperX ensures that there might not be a lot of money laundering being done within the platform or with the protocol? So how do you guys make that work?
So what we are doing is we are talking with partners like Elliptic and AML Board, and I think similar partners to make, and we are monitoring each and every incoming transaction. Even if as a business you are transacting directly with business address, like end to end, we make sure whatever passes through Copperx, even just as an API, we monitor those things via our partner APIs, and we flag those transactions on I think mostly real time basis. So that is one thing. And second thing, regarding taxation and compliance, so I think in that direction we will start talking with a bunch of tax providers, like there are Crypto.io and there are a lot of other tax providers who basically help businesses to get their taxation cleared in crypto. So we will be helping business to understand these things and simplify these things for them. So, and in a longer run, these reports and all these things will be visible in dashboard itself. So you don't need to go anywhere else, use third party tool to have.
Awesome, cool. So CopperX basically has this part covered as far as like from a technical standpoint and from a support standpoint to businesses to ensure that it's as safe, as reliable, as consistent as it possibly can be. Is that correct?
Yes, we have to. I mean, that is the reason. So, whenever somebody asks us, like, do you enable businesses to accept payment? I'm more into like, rather than accepting, it's more about helping them operate in this space. So, yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. Even though we can say it's technically the same thing, but you're empowering them to
Yeah.
operate in blockchain. So that goes beyond. Oh, okay, fair enough. It goes beyond just accepting payments.
Yes, for sure. So it's not just accepting payment. I mean, it's more than
Right.
that. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. That does make sense. Can you tell us a bit about the API integration that CopperX offers for developers and businesses?
I think this is pretty straightforward. So I think if anybody who's listening to this space, like if you have checked Stripe or use Stripe API docs, is the same docs that we have at Copperx, and I think, yeah, we have bunch of more options, like the networks that you want to support, the currencies or cryptocurrencies that you want to accept. So other than that, I think, yeah, as a developer you don't need to learn any new API to accept payments using crypto. It's as easy as, I mean, technically, even I'm personally referring to Stripe docs whenever somebody is asking me, like, okay, whether this is supported there or not. So I just go to Stripe docs and I'm like, hey, this is the variable you should be using. So, like, pretty like to the point on that. And I think we are also experimenting to build e-commerce integrations like WooCommerce and BigCommerce and a bunch of other sites. So, as if you are a business, you come to Copperx, you create your account, just go to WooCommerce and install our plugin. That's it. Like, your store will be you will be able to start accepting crypto in your store. And once we have off ramping live, I think technically you won't even notice. Like, tapped into, like, to you even touched crypto, right? And all of those things will be with a cheaper transaction fees.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. So a quick one. So while we know that the entire, as far as commerce is concerned, physically, virtually, physical product or virtual product, what types of businesses, right, or industries do you think could particularly benefit from using CopperX? Right. Again, this is obviously just we've solved the problem of globalization, a global market. You're addressing a global market. You have a global business, and you can accept cryptocurrencies in different blockchains, which again just opens multiple doors. But are there specific businesses that you think will benefit the most by using CopperX?
I think, yeah. So like our focus is around enabling like digital commerce. So anybody who's having e-commerce store or who's running a subscription SaaS tools, I think those are the primary targeted audience, because they are accepting payments internationally, and cryptocurrency will enable them to increase their revenue by, I think, more than 10-20%, right? So e-commerce stores and SaaS tools are the ones, because like as we speak, we are also experimenting with recurring billing. So let's say, imagine you can pay for Netflix using crypto, right? So I think all of us, like, we must have tried multiple cards because of expiry XYZ things, and
Yes.
Netflix subscription keeps failing on a regular basis. Like, even I had to update my card 3 months back or so, right? So this could be simplified using blockchain specifically a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, e-commerce SaaS tools, I think, are the primary target audience as of now.
Awesome, cool. That's really good to know. Yes, of course, I definitely have had a lot of experiences with terrible cards and just failure transactions.
Yeah,
Right, currently I'm unable to renew my Discord Nitro just because like all of my cards are failing, and
I'll
it's actually even crazy that Discord doesn't have a cryptocurrency subscription service for that. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it should be. And I'll tell you one more, I think, as we are speaking. So today evening only, I was trying to create an account in IBM, and I tried around 6 cards, like literally different credit cards, and none of them worked. Like national, international ones, all of them, none of them worked. So that was like, and then I had to mail them, and yeah, waiting for a response. So I mean, I wanted to use the platform, I wanted to try it out, and like, it's been delayed since long time now.
Nah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I mean, again, these are the barriers to entry we would have had to deal with if crypto never came into the picture. These are the inaccessibilities that would be plaguing every single one of us if we never had cryptocurrencies to sort of break that barrier. Yes, there are still a lot of controversies. Yes, a lot of things might be gimmicky, but it is solving actual real life problems as far as like settlement payments, accessibility, and being able to participate from a global landscape.
Totally, totally. I can give you one more example here. So I think, like, all
Please.
of us knows the, like, everything happening in back in US with the banks failing. Like, I think we are seeing around 3 to 4 banks. The government has to rescue them now, right? So bail out them basically. I mean, it's like it's your own fund. There are like thousands of startups across the world who are having their bank accounts in those banks, and like, out of sudden now they can't access these funds. I mean, obviously they will be able to sooner, but like, for few months, few weeks, you have to suffer just to get your own funds out of that bank, right? So blockchain certainly will give you a lot of freedom in this space, and I think, yeah, like, all of us will have to work together to enable that.
Yes, 100%, 100% agree on that. And the banks and the entire drama. What's crazy is a lot of people might have looked down at. I mean, when this happened with, and again, this is not to give any credit to FTX, but essentially, cryptocurrency protocols and exchanges that had their own fair share of a downturn. And now the bank, and then everyone sort of like said, "Oh, okay, crypto is a failure. Crypto is failing. Crypto is just terrible. It's a gimmick, yada yada yada." But it is akin to pretty much almost every financial system. It can be broken if there aren't proper structures in place to prevent things from happening. And well, I mean, at the core of that would be human greed, right? So once we're able to sort of solve human greed, we are able to keep pretty much any financial system from almost falling apart, just because people people will refuse to make the most possible gain that they can.
Yeah, totally. Totally agree.
Awesome. We have Chris here. I think Chris might have a question for us. Sorry if you can hear me. Chris, please go ahead. Taron and Rahul will be here too.
Yeah, so I just got a question like how does Copperx help business to reconcile and manage their cryptocurrencies payments for like accounting purposes?
Understood. So, one of the major challenge with like any cryptocurrency or payment crypto payment platform we have right now is, so what happens is, as a business you usually accept crypto payment using, let's say, Coinbase Commerce with Pay or XYZ other gateways. For invoicing you might need to use other tools like maybe Request Finance or maybe Utrust or similar, right? Now what happens is, and then for few transactions, for let's say there is no way to for you to accept recurring billing in both of them, then you will go and use some other tool or protocol to do those transactions, right? Now what happens is, one of the major challenge that we have in Web3 industry right now is, as you have to use all of these three multiple tools, your finance team or your finance person will ask you for all these transaction reports and details every single month on a monthly basis. And like we had a chat with bunch of startups, and they were like they are spending around 2 to 3 days just to like download those reports, prepare a single report out of like multiple gateways that they're using, and then submit it to the financial department, right? Like just to accept a crypto. I mean, I'm not even going with, let's say, bank payments or Stripe or anything else, right? It's just about crypto, right? Now, our primarily goal here is to enable business different use cases that they have, right? So first could be payment links, invoicing, recurring billing, even marketplace payments, right? So we want to cater all those use cases, and whichever is your payment need, you will be able to see all your payments under a single dashboard, right? So you don't need to go and download multiple Excel sheets and do the reconciliation manually, right? So you will save literally like 2 to 3 days on a monthly basis by using Copperx, right? So all of these things are like single dashboard. You can download them in whichever format you want, right? So it saves a lot of time for you as a business owner.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that, Taron. That was really, really well thought out. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Taron. Yeah, it does make sense that, I mean, I've had instances of multiple of people having to, load up three different protocols applications to go over different financial systems to for reconciliation, for billing, for accounting, and all of that. So, but it seems like all of that happens to be built into CopperX, and any business that has access or that uses or integrates CopperX has all of this at their fingertips, right?
Yes, correct. Right. To be honest, the thing is, like, technically, we, rather than we rebuilding all these things, we try to partner up with these protocols, right? So, for example, for recurring billing, we have partnered up with Superfluid so that they can handle all the security, safety, and like the whole like money streaming part, and we can build the APIs on top of that, right? So the goal, obviously, here is to partner up with different protocols to enable the easy and swift payments. Yeah.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. I mean, as if I was running a business, that would be super, super helpful. Not having to run all over the place. We have multiple social media accounts, and that already stresses us out. And then having to do that for an actual business where you need to be accounting and you need to make an account and keep an account for every single dollar. It is definitely blissful to know that CopperX sort of gives me some brain power to think of other things, like we said earlier, actually being a business and not worry about accepting payments and all of the other things in between.
Yeah, totally, totally. I mean, I think you can even start using Copperx by just sending your salary as a payment link, so salary amount as a payment
Mm.
link to Dappler team, and they can make a payment.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good shameless plug. My boss is here. He'll probably get to that.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, that is also one of the use case, right? Like you don't need to share your addresses, networks, anything, right?
Hmm.
And then it's safer. Like usually we, for example, when I need to do payout to anybody across the world, like I usually spend 15-30 minutes to do a single payment, right? Like I had to do test transaction, add address, and like make sure the payment goes through. I had to ask the other party whether you have received the funds,
Mm.
and do the final payment and everything. Like add multiple OTPs, and it's massive process. Like so,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. It does come with its own set of challenges, and especially with the possibility of a wrong address. We had recently the team from
Yes.
Safe Transfer with us, and they were, we're talking about the importance of the risk involved with transferring tokens to a wrong address and how that is gone up in thin air. They have their own sort of solution to that, but from your end, Copperx just issuing out a payment link as opposed to, oh, okay, what address, oh, okay, what chain,
Yeah.
and and all of the other interesting intricacies that brings multiple bottlenecks.
Yeah.
It seems to be the case that having a payment link from Copperx solves those problems.
Yes, totally.
Sweet, awesome. So we are, during the curtain and everything. This has been fun. This has been so much insightful. If anyone has a question, please again feel free, come upstairs, raise your hands. I will be more than happy to respond to them. If you're curious if Copper X is just for businesses or if it is for creatives or if it is, whatever, please feel free to come up and do not sort of keep that in between. I'm sure it'll help everyone else in the community to respond to that. But I am running and coming into my final set of questions and inquiries is what are the couple things that excite you about CopperX and its future, Taran?
I think one of the major use case. I mean, technically, I would like to see the whole platform, the whole vision of crypto payments that we have in mind to like to see it through, right? So, for example, the way I mentioned, you owning a coffee shop, there's somebody who wants to pay using crypto, and they make a payment, and the fund comes to your bank account directly, or even your wallet, right? Like, I think that would be really interesting to see. And along with that, we will also see the adoption of cryptocurrencies in general, like across different communities. So I think the major goal for any crypto payment or company, or maybe rather than crypto payment company, anybody who's into blockchain right now, like the main goal for everybody is how can we make this mainstream, how can we make sure like everybody has an access to cryptocurrencies. I mean, not cryptocurrencies, but payments mainly, right? So how can it be instant, right? So I think I would like to see that, like, people paying instantly without any worry whatsoever.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely know for sure that I would like to see that. I would like to see inclusion from,
Yeah.
I would like to see inclusion through CopperX and other, possibly competitors that might be building things to solve the problem of gatekeeping and people have been gate kept out of, tools, services just because they do not have the right quote unquote means of payments to inquire that service, to acquire that service, pardon me. So definitely on the lookout for inclusion, and that definitely does excite me.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see that.
So I guess we might just switch gears a little bit and switch into alpha territory. What are some of the potential future developments or features that CopperX is working on and that we should be expecting?
I think so. There are two things that we have worked. I think three things. So one is
Mm.
enabling swapping, right? So like swapping as in automatic currency conversion. So that's the first thing. Second one is recurring billing. Any SaaS business will be able to accept payments
Mm.
using cryptocurrency in real time, using a recurring billing offering. And third one that I think I'm very excited is having even like going to more networks. So I think in next few weeks we will be live on Binance Smart Chain as well as on Solana. So this is just for I think us.
Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah. So I
Awesome.
mean,
That's
imagine
exciting.
anybody EVM non-EVM network will be a like person holding funds anywhere. Like mostly because what we have seen is we have the highest number of stable coins in on this network, so people
Mm.
should be able to utilize them.
Yeah, for sure. Again, lower the barrier to entry, include everyone, and I'm sure from there
Yeah.
on out, everything else will sort of work itself out.
Yes.
All right, sweet. Just randomly curious, are there like certain protocols or companies that are already integrated with CopperX, and what is their story? What is the feedback? Are they excited? Are they enthusiastic about what the problem you're helping them solve? So essentially, success stories, you could say.
I think yeah. I mean, rather than protocols, like I'll keep that secret for a while. We are still doing pilots. But yeah,
Mm,
in more in broader perspective, like I do have one really important case study which happened I think last week or so. So
mm,
there was this event happening in Singapore by Polygon, named Polygon and Jump Crypto called like PIT. and I think there were two students who wanted to go there for hacking, and they were from India. Like they couldn't afford to go there and hack. So what they did was they tweeted that, hey, I want to go to Singapore, but I don't have funds or anything. And then like one of our team members just reached out to him, and we helped him setting up the whole payment link and everything. And I think, yeah, he made it to the Polygon pit by doing crowdfunding using crypto. And
Let's
imagine doing
go.
this, yeah. Imagine doing this using your bank accounts and stuff. It's, I mean, you won't be able to receive wire transfer like literally like
Mm,
in 4 days, right? So
yeah.
this is very interesting. To be honest, like for example, he got his visa at the airport itself. Like literally, he
Wow.
was running so tight. So he applied for
Exactly.
visa. He was unsure whether he will get the funds or not. So he applied for visa late, like everything running late, and he literally got his passport at the airport itself. So that was crazy, like really tight situation there. But he somehow made it to the event. So I mean, like doing something this fast, this easy,
Mm,
I think is not possible in traditional world for sure. Like you can't do
mm.
wire. For example, I remember the back in 2019 when I used to do freelancing. So, there was one wire transfer which I think never got deposited in my account at all.
Till today.
Yeah. And I kept following up with the bank. I was like, hey, I have this $500 coming in, like, can you give me
Mm.
the status? The person who sent me that funds, he also shared the reference number and everything, and this the bank people were like, I don't know what this number is, right?
Wow.
So that was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly, right. So, yeah, the story you shared is so wholesome, and it sort of is one of the reasons why we do what we do. Just being able to reconcile and instantly make
Yeah.
payments and sort of see that reflect as soon as you possibly can is it's just amazing. If you've ever had
Yes.
to
Yeah,
interact with
totally.
the American wire transfer system, I think the general wire transfer system, it's so broken, it's unbelievable. It's so broken, it's unbelievable, and it just takes so much time. But yes, instantaneous remittance, instantaneous billing definitely does make it very, very delightful to
Totally.
use.
Totally.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyron. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out. Thank you, Rahul, for just stopping by and just hanging out with us. Thank you, everyone in the audience, for joining in this session where we went over the future of payments in Web3 and how Copperx is working and is sort of being one of the pioneers to solving that problem and integrating protocols and just being there to provide inclusion for payments for businesses and creatives, possibly anyone generally who would like to receive payments in cryptocurrency, the future of money, as it is said. But again, thank you, everyone. We extend our gratitude. It's been fun. Thank you, Tara, for showing up.
Thank you for hosting me.
Pleasure is
Thank you,
all ours.
Inka.
Thank you
Thank
everyone
you,
for
Krish, for
listening
hosting.
so
Thank
widely.
you, everyone.
Sweet again. So thank you for joining us. This has been Web3 1:1 session. My name is Zinka. I am your host. You can follow the Copper X team. You can follow Tyron and keep in touch. You can follow Rahul. You can follow us over at the Dark Place, myself and the owl to my left. And just keep in touch with what's happening in this ecosystem. A lot of things are changing, things are moving fast, and you do not want to miss them. We have builders, really creative, really interesting people come in every once in a while and ask them questions as to why they're doing what they're doing, the problems their protocols solve, and it's always a very delightful, informative, and educative experience session. So follow us, stay tuned, and until next time, have an amazing weekend, have fun, say hi to your friends and your families, and just stay blessed.